Hello friends, it's Sam Chan reporting for weaponizednews.com. Today's June 29th, 2016, and we continue to report about the global economic recession, depression, collapse. Here's a report out of Zero Hedge. Greenspan warns early days of a crisis, inflation coming, and urges return to gold standard. Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the Federal Reserve, has warned that Brexit was a terrible outcome in all respects and that we are in the early days of a crisis. UK policymakers miscalculated and made a terrible mistake in holding a referendum on whether to quit the European Union, Greenspan said. In the absence of the gold standard, there is no way to protect savings from confiscation through inflation. There is no safe store of value. And of course, that's another quote from Alan Greenspan before he became chairman of the Federal Reserve, before he joined the dark side. Continuing, that decision led to a terrible outcome in all respects, Greenspan said in an interview with Bloomberg Surveillance yesterday in Washington. It didn't have to happen, Greenspan said. He warned that it is now likely that Scotland, whose majority of voters wanted to stay in the EU, will have another referendum on its own independence. He predicted such a vote would be successful, and Northern Ireland would probably go the same way. He also warned about the massive entitlements and unfunded liabilities in the U.S. and Western world. The U.S. national debt is heading rapidly towards $19 trillion, but the U.S. also has unfunded liabilities estimated to be between $100 trillion and $200 trillion. The issue is essentially that entitlements are legal issues. They have nothing to do with economics. You reach a certain age, or you are ill or something of that nature, and you're entitled to certain expenditures out of the budget without any reference to how it's going to be funded. Where the productivity levels are now, we are lucky to get something even close to 2% annual growth. That annual growth rate of 2% is not adequate to finance the existing needs. I don't know how it's going to resolve, but there's going to be a crisis. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan warning of an economic crisis. He warns that the crisis will likely lead to inflation. I know if you look at human history, there are times and times again where we thought there was no inflation and everything was going fine. And I just basically say, wait, this is not the way this thing ordinarily comes up. I don't know. I cannot say I see it on the horizon. In fact, commodity prices are soggy. The oil prices has had a terrific impact on global inflation. It's not about to emerge quickly, but I would not be surprised to see the next unexpected move to be on the inflation side. You don't have inflation now, and you don't have it until it happens. And of course, the price of gold, shown in this chart, has shot straight up after the Brexit vote. Finally, Greenspan advocates a return to the gold standard as a way to create financial, economic, and monetary stability. If we went back to the gold standard and we adhered to the actual structure of the gold standard as it existed prior to 1913, we'd be fine. Remember that the period 1870 to 1913 was one of the most aggressive periods economically that we've had in the United States, and that was the golden period of the gold standard. I'm known as a gold bug, and everyone laughs at me, but why do central banks own gold now? So now that Mr. Greenspan is no longer chairman of the Federal Reserve, he's coming back out of the closet supporting the gold standard. Prepare for economic crisis, collapse, Do your own research about investments other than the dollar and debt. Subscribe to this channel, speak out, and take action.